All right, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to our monthly meeting of the Cobb County Board of Zoning Appeals. And as is our custom at this time, I'm going to ask Officer Mallory if he would please come forward. And if we'd all please rise, Officer Mallory would lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Officer Mallory. For those of you that are here for the first time, let me give you a little insight on how we're going to conduct the meeting today. The first thing that we will concern ourselves with is the consent agenda. These are applications that not only this board has reviewed, but our professional and our engineering staff and also our zoning staff have reviewed. To our knowledge, there's no known opposition to any of these particular cases. So we'll go forward with Mr. Peterson, John Peterson, the head zoning administrator. He will read these into the record. As he does, the applicant, he or she, will identify themselves by raising their hand. And likewise, if there is anybody here in opposition to any of these particular cases, if they would also identify themselves. If we have opposition, we will pull that particular case and hear it in its regular numeric order as it comes up. Once we complete that, we'll go into our regular agenda. Again, the process will be the same with Mr. Peterson reading him into the record. At that time, the applicant will have a 10-minute period to come before this board at the podium to my right and make the presentation in a 10-minute period. Likewise and collectively, those that are in opposition will also have a 10-minute period to make their opposition known to this board. Our officer of the day is Ms. Kim Wakefield. For those of you that are going to give testimony, both the applicant and anybody here in opposition, if you come forward, Ms. Wakefield will swear you in, and all testimony again will be given to the podium to my right. Once we complete that, that's the agenda for the day. There's nothing else after that. And with that said, I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Peterson for any special announcements. John?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. There is one case on today's printed agenda which has been withdrawn without prejudice and will not be heard today. That's variance case V12, Craig and Robeson. That case has been withdrawn without prejudice and will not be heard today. Additionally, there are a number of cases on today's printed agenda which have been continued by the staff of the Board of Zoning Appeals, and these cases will not be heard either. First is case V82 of 2015, Philip Wallace. That case was continued by the variance board until the May 11, 2016 variance hearing, so that case will not be heard today. Variance case V140 of 2015, EZ69 RH Windy Hill LLC. That case was continued by the Board of Zoning Appeals until their March 9th, 2016 hearing, so that case will not be heard today. Variance case V153 of 2015, Rex D. Houghton. That case was continued by the Board of Zoning Appeals until the February 10th, 2016 variance hearing, so that case will not be heard today. And lastly, variance case V167 of 2015, Karen M. Puckett, was continued by the Board of Zoning Appeals until the February 10th, 2016 variance hearing, so that case will not be heard today. I would like to ask the people in today's audience, if you have a cell phone, please put it on silent mode. The ringing does interfere with the broadcast and presentations. So if you have a cell phone, please put it on silent mode or turn it off. The following announcement concerns variance applications requesting a reduction in lot size or a reduction in public road frontage relating to the official code of Cobb County, Chapter 134, adopted by the Board of Commissioners on July 28, 2015. Applicants are advised that variance applications requesting a reduction in lot size or public road frontage, which are approved by the Board of Zoning Appeals, takes the form of a recommendation to the Board of Commissioners, who makes a final determination whether to grant a special exception for the requested lot size reduction or road frontage request. There's one application on today's agenda which this rule applies, and that's variance case V15, Mitchell Naimi. The applicant is instructed that if the Board of Zoning Appeals approves this application, they would need to be present at the Board of Commissioners zoning hearing on Tuesday, February 16, 2016, at 9 a.m. for a final determination whether to grant the variance or not. With that, Mr. Chairman, I'm ready to start the consent agenda.
Okay. John, let's just jump right in.
Yes, sir. Cobb County Board of Zoning Appeals, variance hearing consent agenda for January 13, 2016. Variance case V1, Warren J. Blair requested variance to waive the side setback from required 10 feet to 9 feet adjacent to the north property line in land lot 1121 of the 16th District. The property is located on the west side of Indian Hills Trail, north of Lower Roswell Road. Staff recommends approval, subject to the encroachments as shown on the site plan received by the Zoning Division on October 20th, 2015. Is the applicant present? Let the record show the applicant is here. Is there anyone here opposed to variance case V1? Let the record show there's one person opposed.
No, that's the applicant.
Oh, that's the applicant? Okay.
All right, we'll call this again. The applicant has raised his hand. Is there anybody here opposed to this application?
Okay.
Nobody opposed.
Let the
Go,
record
John.
show there's no one opposed.
Thank you.
Variance case V2, Arturo A. Iraq requests a variance to waive the minor side setback from required 10 feet to 4 feet adjacent to the southeast property line in land lot 141 of the 1st District. The property is located at the southeast intersection of Lake Colony Drive and Colony Drive. Staff recommends approval of the variance, subject to the encroachments as shown on the site plan received by the Zoning Division on October 27th, 2015. Is the applicant present? Is the applicant here for variance case V2? Is there anyone here opposed to variance case V2? Mr. Chairman, there's no one opposed, so we'll
All right,
call the
Lori,
applicant up.
let's do this. Madam Clerk, Robin, if you would, try to make contact with this individual. If they can be here today before the end of our business, we'll work with them. If not, we'll continue that case. So let's skip and go to the next one, John.
Yes, sir, thank you. Variance case V4, Michael and Kiki Masalidis request a variance to waive the rear setback from required 30 feet to 22 feet in land lot 157 of the 1st District. The property is located at the eastern terminus of Bedford Oaks Court and the north side of Lower Roswell Road. Staff recommends approval of the variance, subject to the encroachments as shown on the site plan received by the Zoning Division on November 2nd, 2015. Is the applicant present? Let the record show the applicant is here. Is there anyone here opposed to variance case V4? Let the record show there's no one opposed. Variance case V5, Claudia John requests a variance to waive the side setback from required 35 feet to 26 feet in land lot 350 of the 16th District. The property is located on the west side of Canton Road, south of Covington Drive. Staff recommends approval, subject to the encroachments as shown on the site plan received by the Zoning Division on November 9th, 2015. Is the applicant present? Let the record show the applicant is here. Is there anyone here opposed to variance case V5? Let the record show there's no one opposed. Variance case V6, Don McKinley requests a variance to waive the front setback from required 35 feet to 27 feet to allow a shed to the side of the primary structure and to waive the setback for a shed under 144 square feet from 5 feet to 3 feet in land lot 94 of the 20th District. The property is located on the southern side of Stonehenge Court, east of Creekwood Crossing. Staff recommends approval of the variance, subject to the encroachments as shown on the site plan received by the Zoning Division on November 10th, 2015. Is the applicant present? Let the record show the applicant is here. Is there anyone here opposed to variance case V6? Let the record show there's no one opposed. Variance case V7, Patricia Burberry requests a variance to waive the rear setback from required 30 feet to 13 feet, to waive the side setback from required 5 feet to 4 feet adjacent to the west property line, and to increase the maximum allowable impervious surface from 40% to 54% in land lot 8 of the 1st District. The property is located on the northeast side of Fountain Drive, west of Woodlawn Drive. Staff recommends approval, subject to the encroachments as shown on the site plan received by the Zoning Division on November 24, 2015, and development and inspections comments. Is the applicant present? Let the record show the applicant is here. Is there anyone here opposed to variance case V7? Let the record show there's no one opposed. Variance case V8, Tabitha Wells requests a variance to waive the rear setback for accessory structure under 650 square feet for an approximately 238 square foot wooden building that's under construction from required 30 feet to 10 feet in land lot 310 of the 17th District. The property is located on the northern side of Hurt Road, east of Kenland Road. Staff recommends approval of the variance, subject to the encroachments as shown on the site plan received by the zoning division on November 11, 2015, and applicant to permit the accessory building. Is the applicant present? Okay, I see you now. Let the record show the applicant's here. Is there anyone here opposed to variance case V8? Let the record show there's no one opposed. Variance case V9, McEacher Memorial United Methodist Church. Request a variance to waive the setback requirement for a homeless shelter operated by a church from required 500 feet to the nearest single-family residence to 350 feet. To reduce the building setback from required 50 feet to 0 feet at the southeast property line, and to reduce the required landscape buffer from required 50 feet to 0 feet at the southeast property line in land lots 460 and 461 of the 19th District. The property is located at the southeast intersection of New Malkin Road and Malkin Road, and on the west side of Old Villa Rica Road. Staff recommends approval of the variance, subject to the following conditions. The encroachments as shown on the site plan received by the zoning division on November 11, 2015. Fire department comments, and dwelling use of building is limited for traveling speakers or for missionaries only. Is the applicant present? Let the record show the applicant is here. Is there anyone here opposed to variance case V9? Let the record show there's no one opposed. Variance case V10, P&L Barrett LP. Request a variance to allow an accessory use, a proposed two-level parking deck to be located to the front and side of the principal building in land lot 209 of the 20th District. The property is located at the southeast corner of Lodge Road and Greers Chapel Road. Staff recommends approval of the variance, subject to the encroachments as shown on the site plan received by the zoning division on November 12, 2015. Is the applicant present? Let the record show the applicant is present. Is there anyone here opposed to variance case V10?
Do I see a hand in opposition?
Mr. Chairman,
What's your opposition,
would you
sir?
please come forward?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
On this variance, I don't really have any opposition to the application itself. It's more of an objection to the applicant's representative. Here on his first variance, I remember some of the nasty ones I've been through, and I just have a problem with it being on consent and him not having to present to the board. But with that, and with me having raised his blood pressure, I withdraw my opposition. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Now, I'd like to remind the audience that today is not April Fool's Day. It's sad when an attorney has to get up and object to somebody else's application. For you folks that are here for the first time, this is a private joke that has gotten a little out of hand. The applicant on this application is a fellow gentleman by the name of Mr. Hozak, a longtime county employee who has certainly caused a lot of problems for all the attorneys of this world. So they're just trying to pay him back. And I apologize for the joke. It is not April Fool's, but he has withdrawn his objection. So it is approved without objection. Is that correct, Mr. Peterson?
That's correct. We'll reflect on the record. There's no one opposed.
We'll leave it on the consent agenda.
But there is one person concerned, so we'll note that on the record.
Right. And if we weren't publicly televised all over the world, I would tell that particular attorney what, but I can't do that. So let's get back to the business.
Moving on.
Moving on, yes, sir.
Variance case V14, Ocean Properties requested variance to waive the landscape enhancement strip from required 8 feet to 0 feet in land lot 979 of the 17th District. The property is located on the north side of Cobb Parkway, west of Riverwood Parkway. Staff recommends approval of the variance, subject to traffic comments. The applicant's representative is present. Is there anyone here opposed to variance case V14? Let the record show there's no one opposed. Variance case V15, Mitchell Naimi requests a variance to waive the minimum public road frontage from required 75 feet to 37 feet for tracks 1 and 2, to waive the minimum lot width and front setback from required 75 feet to 37 feet for tracks 1 and 2, to allow an accessory structure, which is the existing barn, to be to the front of the principal structure on track number 2, and to waive the side setback for an accessory structure over 650 square feet for the barn, required 100 feet to 88 feet adjacent to the north property line on track 2. The property is located in land lot 395 of the 17th District. The property is located on the western side of Burdett Road, north of Pepperbrook Road. Staff recommends approval of the variance, subject to site plan review comments and fire department comments. The applicant's representative is present. Is there anyone here opposed to variance case V15? Let the record show there's no one opposed. Variance case V16, Earl E. Smith requests a variance to waive the front setback for proposed lot number 4 from required 45 feet to 19.3 feet. To waive the front setback for proposed lot number 5 from required 45 feet to 11.7 feet. To waive the side setback for proposed lot number 5 from required 25 feet to 7.94 feet. And to waive the front setback for proposed lot number 1 from required 50 feet to 38.12 feet. In land lots 147 and 148 of the 20th District. The property is located at the northeast intersection of Giles Road and Mars Hill Road. The staff recommends approval, subject to sewer comments and fire department comments. The applicant's representative is present. Is there anyone here opposed to variance case V16? Let the record show there's no one opposed. Variance case V17, Save a Lot LTD, request a variance to waive the rear setback from required 50 feet to 10 feet in land lot 1298 of the 19th District and land lot 35 of the 18th District. The property is located on the south side of Veterans Memorial Highway, north of Old Powder Springs Road and east of Old Powder Springs Road Connector. Staff recommends approval, subject to the encroachments as shown on the site plan dated November 9, 2015, and the letter from the Mapleton Improvement Coalition dated January 5, 2016. Is the applicant present? Let the record show the applicant is here. Is there anyone here opposed to variance case V17? Let the record show there's no one opposed. Variance case V19, Save a Lot LTD, request a variance to waive the major side setback from required 50 feet to 35 feet, to waive the rear setback from 50 feet to 25 feet, and to increase the maximum allowable sign wall area from a maximum of 134.5 square feet to 264 square feet on the Austell Road frontage, and from a maximum of 147.8 square feet to 264 square feet on the Floyd Road frontage in land lot 855 and 848 of the 19th District. The property is located on the north side of Hurt Road, west of Floyd Road, the east side of Austell Road. Staff recommends approval, subject to the sign renderings contained in the variance analysis. Is the applicant present? Let the record show the applicant is present. Is there anyone opposed to variance case V19? There's no one opposed, Mr. Chairman, and that completes the consent agenda.
Okay, it's back to this board for discussion and comments by any board members. John, I'm sorry.
Mr. Chairman, excuse me, but the applicant for V2 is here now. Should I read
Okay.
that back into the agenda?
Well, let's go ahead and read it back.
Okay.
Yeah.
Variance case V2, Arturo A. Iraq requests a variance to waive the minor side setback from required 10 feet to 4 feet adjacent to the southeast property line in land lot 141 of the 1st District. The property is located at the southeast intersection of Lake Colony Drive and Colony Drive. Staff recommends approval of the variance, subject to the encroachments as shown on the site plan received by the zoning division on October 27, 2015. Is the applicant present? Let the record show the applicant is here. Is there anyone here opposed to variance case V2? Let the record show there's no one opposed, and that completes the consent agenda, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, now again, it's back to this board for discussion or comments from any board members. Do I have any comments at all from anybody? I have a couple. First of all, on V17, Robin, I'd like to enter into the record a letter of January the 7th by Mr. Patrick Davis, where he has agreed to the provide an enclosed dumpster with locks, and so I'm going to enter that into the record. I'll give you a copy of that. Also on V9, McEacher Methodist Church, let me just explain. The word homeless was used on this application to fit the category that these people had requested. Essentially, this house is going to be used for visiting missionaries and also visiting speakers. So that's the explanation on that, and I wanted to enter that into the record. Any other comments from board members? Then I'll entertain a motion for approval on this. Have a motion to approve. Have a second by Ms. Williams. No other comments. I'll call for the vote. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Madam Secretary, that's approved 5-0. Before I dismiss everybody today, I'd like to tell you it's a pleasure that Mr. Earl Smith, Earl, would you please stand up? Earl is a past chairman of the board of the Cobb County, of this Cobb County board, and we're delighted to see you here. He's also the past chairman of the Galleria Center. There's a lot of exciting things happen down there. I think this board would like to thank you for all your years of service and all the nice things that you've done to help Cobb County out. So with that, I'm going to give you a little hand. And it's gracious of you to be on that side. It certainly is. Also, again, we had a little joke with Mr. Hozak, but his case was approved. This board, and I think everybody on the staff would like to wish him the best of luck in his new endeavors. With that said, for those of you that were on the consent agenda, your business is complete with us for today. You're welcome to stay or you're welcome to leave. I suggest as you leave, as you go home, buy a lottery ticket, because you never know what's going to happen tomorrow. With that said, you are dismissed. So if you would, please leave quietly and we'll continue on with our business. John, we'll give them a couple of seconds to let them clear the air a little bit, and then we'll get started again.
Amazed all that stayed on consent.
All right, folks, you have to leave the building now. You have to leave the building. Okay, we are still live on TV. Mr. Peterson, let's go ahead and read the next part into the record.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. Variance case V3, Patrick Arnold, request a variance to waive the rear setback, required 40 feet to 34 feet, in land lot 891 of the 17th District. The property is located on the western corner of Rebel Valley View and Sudbury Hill Court. Is the applicant present? Let the record show the applicant is here. Is there anyone here opposed to variance case V3?
All right, raise your hand if that's opposed. I need to get a head count. 3 people opposed.
Okay, would everyone please come forward to be sworn in?
Everybody that's going to speak, please come forward. We'll get you all sworn in. All right, sir, for the purpose of the record, if you would, let's start off by giving us your name.
Patrick Arnold.
All right, Mr. Arnold, go ahead and tell us what you want.
We're just seeking to reduce the side setback by 5.8 feet for the addition of a dining room.
Okay, how big is the dining? Give us a little more information. How big is the dining room going to be?
So we're expanding onto a concrete podium that already exists. It's already in place. It's already impervious, but it's not air conditioned or roofed. So we're just looking to expand on to that already impervious surface towards our neighbor to add a I don't know the exact dimensions, dining room, but it's about 100 square feet.
Okay, and you're asking for a 6-foot reduction, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, any other information? You've got a 10-minute period to
Okay.
tell us all you want to tell us. In that period.
Our lot is challenged by the configuration, the size of the lot. It's 0.538 acres. The configuration being on a corner lot, and the fact that there's a creek in the front yard, so we have creek setbacks that prohibit us from expanding towards the front. And then the slope of the yard as well goes up through the house. So you can see there, the porch is the larger box to expand, but we could go that way. But there's rock there and a small, yard that we'd like to preserve for our kids to play on. It's the only greenish area we have. Let's see here. Yeah, so just the creek prohibits us from expanding to the front, the slope of the property in general, and then due to the rock that's on the northeast side of the property as well, and small sliver of green space there. Let's see here. Yeah, and we enjoy our privacy as well, and plan on putting enhanced landscaping in to help the view corridor from our neighbors.
Okay, can we put up a picture of the property? Could we get that up?
I
think he has
I
that.
have one on an iPad over here.
Yeah, we can bring it. Or, sir, look at that. Would that help you? Okay, if you would go back to the microphone then. And ma'am, if you want to bring that iPad up, come on and bring it up. All right, tell us what we're looking at now. And you see the little pointer he has?
Yep.
Now, I've got to keep you close to the microphone because I have to keep this
Sure.
recorded.
Is there a way to plug this in? So you want me to kind of explain?
Yeah, sure.
All right. So
Tell us where the creek is and all
creek, I
that.
think it shows up there in blue.
Okay.
The creek setbacks go all the way to take care of that front part of the yard. Top right corner, I don't think you can even see it, but there's a little sliver of grass there. It's the only place to throw a football or kick a soccer ball. The driveway you can see in the shade there. To get that driveway into the house originally, they had to use dynamite to blow the rock out of the hill to get the driveway in. So there's a huge rock mound in the yard there. So we would be expanding to the top left, just right out. Let's see, is there any way I can run that?
It's
So you get lower and then to the left, right there.
Okay.
Yeah, that's it. Except for that's a little bigger area, but that's where we're looking to expand.
okay.
And
That's
it's,
where you're going to put 100 square foot, what is it going to be?
it's a dining room.
Dining room.
Yes.
Okay.
So that'll be encased in glass. So obviously we have an interest in keeping our privacy as well. So we would want to enhance the landscaping.
Okay. Anything else you'd like to tell us?
That's really it. I mean, just there's two places to expand where we're looking at, and then out the other way, which just doesn't make sense logistically, and we would like to preserve a little place to throw the football.
Okay.
I think that's it.
Okay, Mr. Arnold, if you would, please have a seat.
Yep.
And at this time, we'll hear from the opposition. And again, let's start off with your name, please.
Okay,
first.
my name's Audrey Windsor, and if you are looking at this overview here, I'm actually the house to the left. So
Okay, yes, ma'am.
their dining room will be, they're looking at a 5'9" setback, variance in the setback between my house and their house. Let me also, before we get too far, this is a letter by a neighbor who is an attorney, laying out some of his, he's on Sudbury Hill Court as well.
No, wait a minute. Just if you want to give us anything, hand it
Sure,
over to those
okay.
folks.
Laying out some of his concerns, one of which is that there is, there's been an abundance of property up behind us in the woods that has been purchased by two different parties, one of whom clear cut about 17 acres, and the other was John Wheeland Homes, and that has since been sold to another party. But that property will be developed, that's my understanding. We have a lot of underground streams in our area. We're worried about additional impervious surface being added. Runoff is already a significant issue for us. I've got two questions for you. One, the Carlisles, who are actually adjacent to the Arnolds on Sudbury Hill, have a very narrow setback, much more narrow than the setback that is typical for our neighbor. The Arnolds also have a much smaller lot.
Is that the Arnold's house that we're looking at now?
Yes, you're looking at the Arnold's house. If the one that is being circled with the arrow is the Carlisle's house, and Mr. Carlisle is
Okay,
here
okay.
today. So the question is, why is the setback so much more narrow than the others? And is there any way to extend that setback so that it becomes wider? From my perspective, with respect to their dining room being adjacent to my driveway, there is already significant erosion in that creek on their property, which abuts a bridge that is part and parcel of my driveway to get up to my house. So that needs to be maintained by the Arnolds. I also want, as do they apparently, a privacy screen that would run with the land, a natural privacy screen, cypress trees, something that's hardy, that will grow quickly, that can be planted along the line of the property where my driveway abuts their property. And I want it to run with the land so that each successor owner, except the next owner of the property and the owner after that, will have to maintain this. Somebody can't just say, I put the tree in, I met my obligations, the tree died, I'm done. Am I answering?
Well, you have a 10-minute period to tell us whatever you want to tell us, so that's what
So
you're doing.
what I think that the Arnolds and I are fine on my side with respect to getting this natural buffer put in, privacy screen, but it would be out of trees. So, and that would be maintained. I don't know legally what steps need to be taken in order to make sure that that privacy screen runs with the land for each successive purchaser. And then the other issue had to do with the setback for the Carlisles, who are the neighbors on the Sudbury Hill portion, where there is, I believe, a 12-foot. Would you like to address that?
This lady has a 10-minute period. She can say whatever she wants. So at this point, I have to listen to whatever these people want to say.
Well, and I don't know the rules of the game. So with respect to me, I'm fine.
Okay.
I'm fine as long as we can get a natural screen that goes down the driveway and screens the entire house, the Arnold's house, from my house, which is on Rebel Valley View. And that would also help with the runoff issues. I believe I'm not capable of speaking on behalf of the Carlisle, so I'll turn that over to Sam Carlisle.
Okay.
Thank you.
Sir, if you would, give us your name, please, first.
Yeah, Sam Carlisle, I'm the neighbor on the other side.
You're behind this, folks.
Yes,
Okay.
yes, right there. And my only objection is the fact that I've just discovered that setback, by looking at the plat, is only 12 feet. So
I'm confused. What setback are you referring to?
the setback, the building line on my property, there's only a 12-foot setback.
Well, that's a normal setback, as I'm told.
Well, in our neighborhood, setbacks would be more in the 40-foot category.
So go ahead and tell us what you want to tell us, sir.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just hoping that I could get some relief and get more like a 25-foot setback on that line so that it won't be encroached in the future, if that's possible.
Is that all your,
That's my only objection.
that's your only objection?
Yeah, and I would certainly be willing to go along with the variance if I could get some relief in that respect.
Okay, sir. Anything else you want to tell us?
That's it.
Okay, next speaker, please. And give us your name, please.
Hi, my name is Nancy Geisler. My husband and Mike and I own the property at 4441 Rebel Valley, which is across the street.
Okay, let's pull that up, too. Okay, we're going to get that up. And your first name is Nancy?
Nancy.
Okay. Go ahead.
And in the interest of transparency, I'm the president of the Vinings Village Homeowners Association on their zoning committee, et cetera.
Okay.
So what I'd like to say is that my husband and I oppose this variance as it stands, as it's applied. And what we're asking, I suppose, is that We feel that the generous building line that was provided along next to the Carlisle's house was really intended to compensate them for the unfortunate property conditions with the creek, et cetera, limitations. And now that they're asking for a variance, we feel as though there's no hardship there that justifies granting the variance. However, we feel like there's a win-win. We don't really object to that variance being applied as long as the overall footprint of the house, of the building area, doesn't expand. So respectfully, we would request that the area in the variance, that a proportional reduction is made on the building line, so that the rectangle, if you will, the shape of the rectangle is neutral in terms of area, if that's possible.
Cornelius, let's put the survey up on the screen. Let's get that up there, because you've got me a little confused, and I'm going to give you a pointer.
It's at first.
I'm going to give you a pointer and a microphone, and you're going to explain what you're asking for.
It's a
Okay?
deal.
He'll give it to you. Here, if you just come right there, he'll show you where to point.
Oh, I see, okay.
All right.
So here's the building line, here's the building line next to the Carlisle's property.
Yes, ma'am.
They are asking for a variance that expands the box in the back. We would like
By
to.
5.5 by 5'9".
Right. We would
Just on
like
that
to
corner.
we would like to see that additional area subtracted from the box here, so that it just simply becomes a new rectangle that looks more like that, and that this building line is moved, so that
Okay.
no one ultimately could come any closer than that as their, we're talking not about so much the Arnolds, but about in future. If this variance is granted, can we take that out of this to give more buffer in here and prevent anyone from expanding out to that build line in the future? That's our suggestion.
Okay.
Submitted respectfully. Thank you very much.
All right. Anybody else wishing to speak in opposition? I have 1 minute left. Hearing and not seeing anybody, it's back to this board for discussion. Ms. Dee Gay is our new representative on District 2, so I'm going to ask Ms. Gay to lead us into discussion.
Well, when I first spoke to,
Dee, turn your microphone on. The little button right there. Just push it in.
Okay,
There we go.
I'm on now. Let me address Ms. Windsor first. If the Arnolds were agreed to put a buffer on between you and their property, would that be okay with you?
you mean a buffer of vegetation?
Vegetation, like lelands, I got 3 lelands in my front yard and they are blocking everything.
Yes, as long as it is sufficient when it goes down the length of the drive and it runs with the land. So that.
Well, it
All
would.
right, wait a minute. If we're going to have a discussion, you have to come back up. I have to get you on the microphone. So you're asking for 148 foot of trees? Is that what you're asking for? I mean, that's the property line, is 148 foot.
Well, no, it doesn't have to be 148 feet.
Okay, then clarify.
But if it could be just to the extent that it blocks the view between my house and their house, that would be more than sufficient. I believe this is something that the Arnolds are wanting to do anyway. And we want to be good neighbors.
Absolutely.
Okay.
So, yes, I am absolutely fine. I can understand why they're not really adding any impervious surface because they already have a patio.
All right, well, let's just stay one issue at a time. Right now, we're talking about the trees. Does that answer your question, Dee?
Yes, it does. Mr. Arnold, would you come up front, please? To conform the request to Mrs. Windsor's, would you be agreeable to add vegetation
Yes,
to the back of the house so that it will have privacy for both of you?
We've discussed this, and I put it in my application, yes.
Okay.
I tell you what, while we're on that subject, let's go ahead and clarify how many feet and how many trees. No, Mr. Arnold, how many feet and how many trees are you willing to put in?
I mean, I think I'm in line with her, just to block, I mean, I think we understand the view corridor.
Well,
so
I
it-
can't have a maybe. I gotta have 5 trees, 2
we're
trees, 1
talking,
tree.
Well, it'd be up to a landscape person to tell me what trees will grow there. We're gonna take out other trees to make these trees be able to grow. So I'd have to have a consultant, but we're in agreement on the, view corridor that
Okay.
needs to be landscaped.
And approved by the Cobb County Arborist. Is that okay with
Arborist, yeah.
both of you?
Sure.
That's how we would
Yes.
do it. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, but that situation is taken care of then.
Yeah, that
Okay.
should take care of the privacy part. Yes. And next,
Okay, anything else you want to do? How about the other, as far as changing the property lines? John, we've never had a request like this. Could we give us a clarification on that? I'm confused.
To try to clarify it a little bit, Mr. Chairman, this is a corner lot. So the road frontage with the shortest amount of road frontage is your front no matter what, no matter which way the house faces.
And what would that be?
So
Would that-
Sudbury Hill Court is
Is the front.
149 feet.
And that's the front.
That's the front. And the other road is 157 feet, so that would be a corner side. So the side adjacent to Ms. Windsor would be the rear setback.
Okay,
And the other side adjacent to Carlisle would be the 12-foot side setback.
Can I ask a question?
I've been calling, the Windsor side, the side setback, for whatever that's worth. Just my-
well, now we've clarified that.
Well, that's
so-
the way the house
Miss-
is positioned. I just have a quick
Yeah,
question.
Ms. Trombetti has a question. Yes, ma'am, go right ahead.
Is the 12-foot setback consistent with the R30 zoning? Is that just?
Yes, it is.
Okay, so R30 requires
A 12-foot setback.
12 feet side. Okay,
For
so
side
that's
set-
why it's less than 40 or 50 or 35, because it's considered a side.
It's confusing. That's why I asked John to give us the clarification on there. So now we know where the front is and the rear is, so that's helped us all out.
okay.
Okay, go ahead, Ms. D. It's up to you. Yes, ma'am. I'm ready for a motion if you want to
Okay.
make a motion.
I make a motion that, it's
It's on, okay.
It's on. Chairman, Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to approve this as stated and with the approval of
The county
the county
arborist.
of Orborist.
And also all staff comments.
Yes, and all staff's comment. You agree with that?
Okay, that's a motion. Do I have a
That's a
second?
motion.
to that
Second.
motion? Second, Ms. Trombetti. Any other comments from board members? Everybody understands what we're doing. The county arborist is going to have the ultimate control over how many trees, the spacing and the height and all that. John, you have a question?
And just for the county arborist, can we just clarify that it's a buffer area adjacent to the Windsor property where there's gonna be no trees, or is it sparsely vegetated right now, or is it gonna be?
It's heavily vegetated. We anticipate taking out some trees, but I guess we'll work with your arborist because of the stream setback. They probably won't let us touch a bunch of them. But yes, we'll work with the
Okay.
arborist, yeah.
What we wanna do is just add along the Windsor property line for the
Okay.
county
Okay.
arborist.
Yeah.
He's okay with that, and Christie's
Yeah.
okay with that. Okay, great.
Call
I've
for
got a
the motion.
motion. I have a second. Judy, you have any comments or
Was this,
questions?
did we make it for this use only, this setback only? But we
We
should
will
make it
add
for this
that.
setback only.
Yeah, for the setback only?
Only, yes, ma'am.
Yes.
So
Mo-
that's just for this improvement.
The
It
improve,
doesn't
the
have-
addition only.
What's
Right.
that?
The setback would be for this addition only.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Then,
Okay, and a motion, and the second's
Motion,
okay with
second.
that. All right, I've got a motion. I've got a good motion. Now, everybody's happy, right? Skip, are you happy? I'm happy. All right, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye, any opposed? Carries for approval 5-0. Great cooperation among everybody. Thank you very much.
How do we engage the arborist? We just
Will, I tell you what, before you leave, you get his,
Ask him.
you get his card, or, we'll
Ken.
make sure he gets in touch with you.
they'll be familiar with what type of case number or something like that.
Oh, they'll be familiar with everything, yes. So before you leave, see Mr. Peters at the end of this meeting. All right, let's go to our next one, John.
Thank you.
You, thank you.
Variance case V11, Racetrack Petroleum, Inc. Request a variance to waive the rear setback from required 30 feet to 5 feet, waive the landscape enhancement strip from required 8 feet to 1 foot as shown on the site plan, to to ask for a sign variance to allow the racetrack logo on the building entrance overhang, to allow the canopy sign to be located within the front setbacks, and to exceed the 50% window cling coverage from Cobb County Code Section 134-313P5, and to exceed the 120 square foot total sign area in land lot 55 of the 20th District. The property is located on the east side of Wade Green Road, north of George Busby Parkway. The applicant is present. Is there anyone here opposed to variance case V11? Let the record show there's no one opposed.
Okay. Again, for the purpose of the record, before you speak, you give me your name.
Good afternoon. For the record, my name is Parks Huff of the law firm of Sam's Larkin, Huff and Valley, and I represent Racetrack Petroleum in relation to this variance application before you today. It's a pleasure to represent Racetrack in relation to this case. As you may know, Racetrack is a local company headquartered right here in the state of Georgia. It's the third largest privately held company in the state of Georgia with stores throughout the southeast. But being their home base, they're very proud to be Cobb County residents. And this is a store that was on Wade Green Road, originally built in 1994. And one thing about Racetrack is they are making a very concerted effort to go back in and remodel existing stores, or in this case, tear down and rebuild an older store. So the store is a little over 20 years old. It's been very successful, but they want to improve what offerings they have in the store and improve the architecture and bring to the community the improvements that they have found in the convenience world. And what they've done is they've acquired adjacent to it was another service station that has been operating as an admission station and other ancillary uses for many years. It was originally built in 1990, so they want to combine these two tracks, approximately 1.8 acres, I believe, and tear down and totally rebuild the convenience store, which results in the setback variances that we're seeking here. And those all relate to the shape of the property and the size of the property. And it's going to be over a $3 million investment. One of the things that you need to know about Racetrack is when they're corporately owned, corporately run stores, so the employees have the same benefits that the store support headquarters has in downtown at Galleria. So they have a very professional, very well-trained employees that work in the store, and the opportunity also to advance within the business. I did want to take some time, and I've submitted a letter dated today that kind of detailed, because one of the big questions had to do with the signage and how the signs works together. And I hate that we let Mr. Hosack get away, because he'd actually made some opinions previously as community development director that I'll be referencing. But as you can see, this is the architecture. They have continuously upgrading the architecture. One of the things you'll see here is that the roof line is raised in a couple locations. That is to bring light into be able to put natural light coming into the store. So it's an architectural detail, but also has a functional purpose. One of the variants has to do with the Racetrack sign on the building. They're not actually wall signs because they're not attached to the wall. They're actually recessed out away from the wall over the entrances, and that gives a relief. So you, instead of looking at something flat, you're looking at variations. So, but technically your code requires wall signs to be stuck on the wall. It wouldn't look right if this was stuck back on the wall, and so it's recessed a little out. So that's one of the variance requests. The other having to do with exceeding the 120 square foot total sign has to do with the fact that we have two entrances. So we have signage and architectural details over the front and the side. It creates a very attractive looking building. So instead of having the front finished off, you also have the major side that's visible from the public, also, detailed with architectural features. But it also has the Racetrack logo on the side that's also an entrance. So that's an additional sign, but it's only viewed from that side, so you're only looking at one side at a time. The variance relating to the window cling, again, if you look at the top left picture, that's the side entrance. And you'll see on both sides of the side entrance, there's windows. And that makes that entrance look like an attractive entrance and gives you the architectural details that you expect at an entrance. What you don't know is that the men's and women's bathrooms are on the other side of those walls. And so when we put windows there that gives the architectural details, we have to cover them for obvious reasons. And so that's the reason why there's some window cling there. It's designed that when I go through the signage is part and parcel of the whole architecture of this building and all built in together. So that's the reason why I'm taking a little time to walk you through why there's some signage variances in relation to this request. That's another issue that's a result of the architecture. If you look at the bottom picture, that is the front of the building. And on the left-hand side is where the side entrance is. They needed architectural detail on the right-hand side. So you see the dark feature that is on the right-hand side, and they have a marketing case that has their yogurt offering there. It's really meant to be viewed by people who are filling up on site. And then on the other side of that, you have a marketing case that markets their coffee, two of their big sellers for inside their store. Again, this is signage that's kind of integral to the architecture. So when we start talking about square footage and number of the signs and things like that, it needs to be understood that it's a package. It's all built in together. And so that has to do with the variance requests that we're asking on signage. We also are showing a sign on each side of the canopy. And one of the things about the canopy that, in my mind, when you look at them, they're a large, long, unbroken line. And the racetrack logo on the canopy actually breaks that up visually. So that's another thing that is technically a variance because it's excessive. It exceeds the sign square footage, but it is something that architecturally looks pleasing. And we have, in my letter dated today, proposed 150 square foot price sign. I think previously we might have shown a 100 square foot sign, but that's when they have two road frontages. This is one road frontage, and we have a 150 square foot proposed monument style sign. I will state that there's currently a 60 square foot sign on our property. The adjacent property that has been acquired had another 60 square foot sign. So in a way, we've kind of combined two tracks, put one building on it. It's going to be over a $3 million investment, and then we're going to have this price sign that will be out front also. So we ask that you, and I don't think anybody signed up in opposition, we have talked to the adjacent neighbor behind us, and in my letter dated today, in addition to the setback variances, we've agreed to that the retaining wall will be either stained and stamped or have brickwork because the adjacent property owner had questions and concerns about that, and we told we would agree to that. So that's also contained in that letter, as well as the dumpsters being fully enclosed, which of course is in compliance with your code. So with that, and with no opposition, I will be glad to answer any questions you have. My client is obviously also here to answer any questions that you have, and I do have almost 3 minutes left, but in the sense that
All right, for the purpose,
Mr. Chairman doesn't want me to go on for the entire 10 minutes if I don't need to.
For the purpose of the record, is anybody here in opposition to case B11? Hearing and not seeing anybody, it's back to this board for discussion. And I'm going to ask Ms. Trombetti, who represents the district, to lead us in that. Ms. Christie?
Okay, thank you. I think this is a good application. Thank you for bringing the elevations and the renderings for us. The new stores are very nice. The materials are nice. I think paying attention to the architectural detail is something that's nice to see, because the old convenience stores didn't necessarily do that. So it is an upgrade. These are bigger stores, and of course they require or typically come in and ask for more signage than what the code allows, but I think as a package it does work well together. I just have one question for Mr. Huff about the 150 square foot sign. Would that affect in any way the placement of it on the property, or require it to be closer to the right of way or anything like that?
We did not seek a variance on the setback distance on that issue. So,
so the slight increase doesn't change anything else about the application?
No, we're good.
Okay, thank you.
Park, stay up there in case we have another question for you.
The issues that we had been made aware of with the adjoining neighbor, I think, have been addressed in terms of the aesthetic from that rear side of the building with the wall and the dumpster enclosure that's described in the letter we just got today. So again, I think it's a good application and a nice upgrade. It's good to bring two parcels in together and do something new. Unless there's some other comments, I'm prepared to make a motion.
Any other comments? We're ready for a motion, Christie.
Okay. I'll make a motion that we approve V11, subject to all staff comments and recommendations, as well as the letter dated January 13th, 2016 from Mr. Parkshuff.
A motion, I have a second. Second by Ms. Gay. Any other comments? Just by way of a comment, you know, Parks has pointed out to us as third largest company in the state of Georgia. It is a Cobb County company. They started here in 1964. They've been an outstanding citizen. We're delighted to have them. Parks, we're excited about the improvements that you're making to this piece of property. Little concerned about the $3.88 price on gasoline. It's a little better than that, and I want you to use all your efforts to keep it down. And I hope you sold a couple of lottery tickets today. All right, I've got a motion. I've got a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Carries for approval, Madam Secretary, 5-0. Thank you. Next one, John.
Yes, sir. Variance case V13, Liliana Nichols Grant. Request a variance to waive the front setback from required 60 feet to 58 feet. Waive the side setback for an accessory structure over 650 square feet for an approximately 900 square foot garage, required 100 feet to 18 feet adjacent to the north property line. And to waive the side setback for an accessory structure over 650 square feet for a tennis court from required 100 feet to 10 feet adjacent to the south property line in land lots 998 and 1043 of the 17th district. The property is located on the eastern side of Chatelawn Road, north of Paper Mill Road. Is the applicant present? Let the record show the applicant is here. Is there anyone here opposed to variance case V13? Let the record show there's one person opposed. All those wishing to address the board, please come forward to be sworn in.
All right, sir, for the purpose of the record, again, give us your name, please, first.
My name is Matthew Grant.
Okay, do you want to introduce the young lady that's with you?
That's my wife, Liliana.
Well, let me get her on the record. Give me your name.
Liliana Nichols Grant.
Okay, thank you. All right, sir, go right ahead.
We purchased this property about 2 years ago, and we're in the process of renovating it. And when we switched contractors just recently, the county noticed something that wasn't noticed when we originally did it, that parts of the building oversit the setbacks. So the county suggested us that we go through the variance to get this change.
All right, let's put the survey up on the board, Cornelius, please. We'll give you the microphone, and we're going to give you a pointer, and you show us where you're over. We all have copies of it up here, but for the purpose of the TV and our studio audience, I need you to show us all that.
This is the front of the property. As you can see, this corner of the house, which has been here since 1985,
Right.
oversits about 2 feet.
Okay.
There's a garage that's back here that oversits a few feet back into the setback as also.
Okay.
And what we wanted to do in this space right here was add a front porch,
Okay.
which basically sits across that 60-foot setback as well.
Okay. All right, now go ahead and tell us what you want.
Well, again, the county suggested that we get these setbacks adjusted because in case either building burns down, we couldn't build back on the same footprint.
That's correct, yes.
So I thought that was a wise idea.
Right.
There is an awning on the front door, which is ripping up, and we wanted to put more of a permanent structure there, just to get in and out of the door without getting into the rain.
Okay.
Other than that, that's pretty much.
Well, give us a little overall picture. How old's the house? How long you
The
been
house
in
was
it?
built in 1985.
And how big is the house?
Um,
1,200 square feet, 1,800, 2,200?
about 5,500 square feet, main floor and top floor.
Okay,
And the garage is a detached garage on the side of the property.
okay.
It sits quite a far way back from the street. We didn't build it, of course. This was, I couldn't tell you how long ago the garage was built. We're just trying to correct a lot of the water damage on this property. The house has a lot of damage from water. And this corner here was a big important one. It's where the dining room sits.
Right.
So if we had to move that whole part of the house, the whole corner of the house, both floors would have to move.
Yeah.
And then go ahead.
How about tennis court? Are they on your property line or they have to be adjusted too?
Well, the tennis court's been there, I think, original to the house. It does oversit the setback, but it's not a building. It's a,
John, is that tennis court in this application? Yes. It is. So we're going to do the tennis court too. It is in the application.
okay.
So you're over on that too. And that's existing.
It's existing, yeah.
Okay. All right, Mr. Grant, anything else of purpose you want to tell us? Anything else you'd like to say?
We're just trying to proceed with our renovations so we can get back into our house. Who's not currently in the house as we speak.
Okay. And Mrs. Grant, do you have anything you'd like to say?
Yeah, the only thing I like to say is that we are here because it was recommended to us by the building and zoning area. When our contractor presented everything that we needed to do and get all the permits, this is when the issue was brought up. And hence, we're just trying to correct something that wasn't done years and years ago. We don't even know if it was in '85 or what year it was, that the proper paperwork wasn't done or what it was. But so we're just trying to make sure we correct an issue from 1985 and that we are set, and if, in the event of any destruction of the building, burning or whatever, that we would be able to rebuild on the same footprint. We have gotten signatures from our neighbors that, you know, whether there were any issues. As far as I understand it, there were no issues. This is the first that I see anybody have any opposition to what we're trying to do, because it really doesn't affect anyone as far as we could tell. The garage, the three-car garage, which is set all the way to the back, has been there. It was not something that we built. So again, we're just trying to get things squared away and have everything nice and neat.
Okay, very well said. Okay, if you just have a seat at this time, we'll hear from the opposition.
Hello, I'm Diane Bennett.
Mrs. Bennett, okay.
I'm their back door neighbor, and I never received anything to sign. So I have these pieces of paper, these pamphlets I'd like to pass out showing what the property looks like now, and a letter from me saying the things that I'm stating.
We could put that up on the screen if you want to show that on the TV
I've got
too.
lots of pictures. I don't know if you want to see them,
Yeah,
whatever.
whatever you want. You've got
Okay.
10 minutes to tell us whatever you want, ma'am.
I have lived in Cobb County for 42 years, 43 years, and the home I live in, this is their front of their house, which they're doing now with all the tracking that goes into the street. Whenever there's any construction, this is the back of their house and the tennis court coming towards my property with no silt fencing. There's never been one piece of silt fencing on that property. There's a creek at the back of their property, which is also, this is their tennis court, which also comes down to my property. I have to cross a bridge to get to my property. I have a culvert underneath the driveway, and I am required by the Corps of Engineers, I had to place a screen, which was like a concrete with rebar in it to keep any debris from going down the stream that would denigrate the culvert, or to block down to the creek. I think it goes into Soap Creek. Do you have another picture, please? That is the runoff going down to the creek. They had wood chippers down there and everything, and nothing to keep anything. They have now since put this wall, if you can see in the background back there, but there you will see there's no silt fence there.
Is that your wall or his wall?
That's their wall.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, that has just gone up as far as I know.
All right.
This is a culvert. If you can see over here, sir. Right here?
Yeah, we can see it.
Okay. If you can see the culvert right here, I mean, yeah, there's a culvert.
Go to the next picture, it'll show real good.
That culvert goes underneath their tennis court. When it was initially built, this was a natural spring. Mr. Dan Dover, if you all know who he is, a builder, took access and did, that's upside down, and built that over the spring, and then put a culvert in it. So all that dirt and all everything on their tennis court is running down that hill to this culvert going into the creek. That is what I had to place on my side of the road, of the bridge, to keep anything from going in there. The Corps of Engineers said that they would not permit anything. And actually that happened when Marty Marchman built along our property
All right,
line.
now, is that your
That's
culvert?
mine.
That's yours.
That's
Okay.
mine.
It's a pretty one. It's pretty.
Thank
I
you.
like it.
Thank
Go
you.
ahead.
And I did want to say that if I do collapse because my knees are shaking, I would like this nice officer here to come and give me resuscitation. Okay.
You know, I forgot to tell everybody that this is a soap opera. As the county turns, you never know. It's an amazing.
He's smiling. It's okay.
All right, honey.
Okay.
Let's get serious now. Let's go back
I'm
to
always
work.
serious.
Okay.
And this is that's why I'm here. This, you can see the runoff from the back of their house coming towards the creek again.
Yes, ma'am.
The creek, and you showed in their property, their survey, whatever, that's the creek, what have you. Like I said, I've been there 30 years, and we are on what they call a covenant. We have 4 homes on our covenant. The people next to us, there are 2 homes in the back and 2 homes in the front. And the Grants have bought the house that was initially built by the Kilferas. There's the Bill Bros had another house, but anyhow, if you can see it, I am, yep, that's me back there. And there's another house farther back, which is the Lovitz, and has just sold. Anyhow, there are restrictions on the property. There are covenants that we all need to see. I'm here only for equality. I want to make sure that my creek, which is also their creek, does not become covered under, that my bridge doesn't cave in, that I've got to pay expensive things to get it rectified. I have one other thing, and you will probably see it. It's on the second to last paragraph. I feel like they are constructing or deconstructing helter-skelter. The back of that house has been open for months. Children have to walk to school in front of that house. Soap Creek is only 4 doors down, and they could fall through into the basement. There is nothing keeping a child who is nosy from coming back there. I didn't know it was open. I had people in my driveway saying, "What the hell are they doing?" Excuse me. And I said, "I don't know. I have no idea." They said, "Well, that whole house is open in the back. I've not gone on it. I've not trespassed." And so, anyhow, I think that maybe a chain link fence will deter people. A construction fence would deter from that. I'm not saying they need to do the whole property, because it does become steep and what have you. Those are my concerns. I have other pictures if you wanted to see anything else, but that's where I am right now. I think the county to supervise it better. I have nothing against these people. They're hard, honest working people, I'm sure, and like us, I've been there for a while, and I just want to maintain what I have, and at my age, I don't want to have to fix anything up. So,
Okay.
That's it. Okay.
Thank you, Ms. Bennett. It was
Thank you.
informative, very nice. Thank you. Anybody else wishing to speak in opposition to case V13? Yeah, are you sworn in? Oh, no, you're the applicant. Hold on. Our procedure's over. You had your 10 minutes. You tell us everything in 10 minutes. They tell us everything in 10 minutes. Now it's our turn. And with that said, Ms. Dee Gay represents the district, and she will lead us in the discussion. Ms.
Hello,
Gay.
I'm Dee Gay, and I'd like to ask John about the site construction, because you probably know what's going on here.
Well, the applicant purchased the house probably about 2 years ago, and they've been working on renovating it. And, currently the permit, I think, is expired, so it would need to be renewed to keep working on the property.
I think
It's
what
been
Ms.
renewed?
I think
Okay.
what Ms. Gay is asking, John, is what Ms. Bennett has brought up is a legitimate question. How much supervision is the county doing on that property? I guess if the permit is expired, we're not out there checking it. Is that correct?
Well, according to them, the permit was renewed recently, so
Okay.
they do have a permit. If there's a problem regarding drainage or the cutting of trees, All Ms. Bennett has to do is call the county, and we'll send an inspector out there to make sure there's proper silt fence up there. They're not getting into stream buffers.
Right.
And whatever else is required through construction is being done.
Now, we take that very serious, Ms. Bennett. Stormwater management goes out, if they need silk fences, they're required to put them up. If there's a problem with any of the drainage systems, the county is responsible for that. We will cite them. So I think it's a matter of cooperation. And as Mr. Peterson says, all you have to do is call code enforcement or call the building inspector, and they will assist in any way they can. And for the grant's benefit, obviously you don't want anybody to get hurt. You want the job to go right, so it's a benefit to you. So it seems to me it's a workable solution for both parties. Dee, go ahead.
Yeah, no, I would say that for liability reasons, a fence would be highly recommended because you don't want anybody in your property getting hurt. So I would suggest that
That the county look at that.
that the county look at it and recommend something on your property or just for safety reasons anyway. Would you come over here?
All right.
If there's another question?
Wait a minute, ma'am. Nobody's called you up.
Yeah, just a minute.
Oh, you asked her to come.
Yeah.
Okay, come right up then.
She wanted to speak.
I have a question if I can ask.
Do we need to do that before Ms. Gay questions this lady?
I like to hear the question.
Let Ms. Gay continue. Go ahead, Ms. Gay.
The front of the property has two entrances, okay? And totally in the front of the property is all bushes. So when she's referring to kids walking and that they could fall in, I'm not sure what she's referring to, but there is nothing to fall in the front of the property whatsoever, because that's where they would walk. The street would be in front, where it's bushes, and there's two entrances. And that's it. So I'm not sure what she's referring to about kids or somebody being able to fall in. So I just want to have that for the record, that there is nothing there for
Okay,
anyone to fall.
you've made that point.
Okay,
Okay?
thank you.
Anything else for her?
No, that's
I had
it.
a question.
Okay, we have a question. Let's start with Ms.
For the
Trombetti.
applicant.
Miss, do you want to ask this lady the question?
It's for the applicant, yes.
Applicant, Mr. Grant. All right, Christie, go right ahead.
Do you have plans to restore the tennis court and use it for that purpose?
We were going to, once we got done with the house, but we're just going in stages because, you know, as we see, the two entrances to the front are the only access we have to the property. The young lady here, her driveway's on the side of our property, and you're not permitted to use that at all to access to anything.
Right.
So we drive down the right.
All right, just address us. That's all.
We
We're
drive
just talking
down,
to us.
the workers drive down the right side of the house to get to the back end. That's why, you know, that machine's going up and down. It is pretty steep. It's a two-story drop. So I have machines
okay.
going up and back to carry things. So our driveway, as the picture showed, was quite dirty and muddy. And yes, it's not pleasing, but,
Where's the construction site?
I'm sorry.
So and then the wall, is that just that wall that was pointed out in one of these photographs around the pool, I assume?
Okay.
Was it
Is
to
that-
replace another wall that had been there previously, or is it
Yes.
something new? Okay. Because I can see the
Yeah,
the
there's
aerial,
so
it looks
much,
like it's
and I
already-
agree with the water issues. We're trying to make sure that the water gets to where it needs to go, because before, the house on the other side, the water would come down the right side of the driveway, come in front of the house, and go right toward the house on the other side of the property, and would literally flood their property. So we try to get this water not to do that, and they are greatly appreciative of us trying to redirect that water back to the back.
Yeah.
All right, let's stay to questions. Christie.
That was my only question. It just seems like the sooner they can get everything done, the better it will be for
We're living in a
everybody.
small apartment right now, and it's really hard.
Okay,
Yes,
now, the
okay,
next
okay.
question. Let me go to Ms. Skip Gunter.
Yeah, and my question is to you. There's a reference in the stormwater management comments about a site grading plan, but it sounds to be reviewed, but it sounds like you're doing grading now, hauling truckloads of dirt away and so forth. Is that
No, what
correct?
we did is, you can't really see the house. The house is like U-shaped. And what we did
Right.
is we took a porch down in the back and moved dirt back out a little bit so we can access to that part of the house.
Is there grading that you plan to do?
When all the trucks are done, yes.
Okay, so the process, Mr. Peterson, is that at that point, they would come in with a grading plan, which would be reviewed by stormwater management and probably others, and then they would proceed from there. Is that right, or how does that fit into
Sounds like
the scenario?
there
what's
needs to be a
happening?
plan put in place pretty soon, because I have no idea what type of grading has happened or what
I'll
you're
have
going
to
to
get
do.
the
But you probably
contractor
need
to
to
put that together.
What you probably need to do is get with Mr. Braden and have some kind of phased plan approved when you're going to do grading at what point in time.
Okay.
But that's a normal procedure. It's done kind of in a plan review
Yes, it is.
situation, so maybe he hasn't gotten to that point yet, is, I think.
Yeah,
what
the
you're
Yeah,
saying.
but I-
contractor's been with the county, and I don't know what specifics they've covered.
So at some appropriate point, the county is going to tell you, this is what you need to do next.
Right, and that's how we found out about the setback issues in the front of the house, is when we went to renew the permit, and you said it was expired, so we switched contractors. And when the new contract got there, the county said, wait a second, these 2 points are over the setbacks, you need to get this addressed. And that's why we're here.
And the location of the tennis court itself, apparently there's an old tennis court there that you
Existing.
plan to renew, to renovate.
I'd love to, if I could, yeah.
And the old tennis court is 10 feet, is, I guess, 90 feet over it's within 10 feet now, the edge of the property, as opposed to the 100 feet that is required to be.
Yeah.
So your plan would be to keep that the same when you renovate that, to keep it the same footprint?
I was planning on it, yes.
And that's in the
There's no building
application.
there, it's just basically, it's the footprint of the tennis courts.
Okay. Okay.
All right,
Those
answers
are
your
my
question.
questions, yeah.
Okay, Judy, do you have questions? Ms. Williams?
I do. What is your time frame on this,
For which?
to finish your project? You said
We
you've
were
been going,
told by
what,
the end of
2
June.
So you hope to have it all finished by the end of
I'm
June?
praying to have it all finished by the end of June.
Okay. And I have a question, not for you, but for Dave Braden.
Okay, let's bring Mr. Braden up.
Off track a little bit.
Mr. Braden, tell everybody who you are first.
Dave Braden with the Stormwater Management Division.
Hey, Dave. I know you went out to the site. Did you notice any violation of silt fence not being up or any grading when you were out there?
I did not see any adequate silt fencing. That's correct.
So they would need to correct that with your office, put up the adequate silt to prevent
And
the
it's not really, since it's not a subdivision, it doesn't come through
plan
the
review.
regular plan review process.
Right.
But there should be a lot plan that would show that Frank Gibson could come out and address erosion control issues. Right?
Okay, so we do have some issues here other than just, for me, the setback issues are just cleanup issues, housekeeping issues, because it's
They appear to be all
existing.
existing, right?
But I think the other issues is perhaps some work that his contractors have done that might require a little bit more, like the silt fence and more review by your department.
Right. I just want to make sure that any grading that's done or proposed to be done, we can make sure that it's not going to cause problems with the stream or adjacent property.
And I agree with it. I think that he needs to get with you before the contractor, before he proceeds with any other grading to make sure those silt fences is protected.
All right, before you leave, Mr. Braden, anybody else has a question for Mr. Braden? Okay, let me go back. D, you go back. Now, you go ahead and finish up your questions, ma'am.
Well, I was going back to the tennis court, Mr. Grant. Is that a clay or concrete?
I think it was asphalt.
Asphalt? Ooh.
It hasn't been taken care of in a long
Okay.
time.
So, that's a little problem right there.
Well, not really. I mean, we've seen this before on tennis
Yeah,
courts.
oh.
He's only 10 foot over.
Yeah.
And he doesn't know what he's going to do with it, but it is in the application to correct, and we've got to do something with it because he is 10 foot off, so we.
Yeah.
What
So
is
it's a
the
legitimate, it's a legitimate request.
Is the asphalt the issue?
The
The location's
location.
the issue.
It is located, well, the 90, this is on an R80 piece of property, so it's, 90 feet compared to 10 feet is a big difference. Okay, so you go ahead and question him. Any more questions for
No,
Mr.?
I don't have any more questions, so
Okay.
then the cleanup is gonna come after the construction is done, correct?
As far as I know, yeah.
Okay.
Cleanup of, wait a minute, cleanup of the tennis court?
No, the cleanup of the property in front and
The
the
whole
side
property.
and the whole property.
Yeah, absolutely, I would assume so, yeah.
Okay. Any
I
recommendations?
mean, we can't even proceed with landscaping until they get done
No,
with all the
I
artwork
understand
stage,
that,
so.
yeah, that's understandable.
In order to get working, you've got to get this variance in place before
Yeah,
you
they
can really
can't start
do
on the
anything.
house until they get, and all that stuff done.
Done, yeah.
Oh, well.
Christie, do you have a question? Okay, let's go to Ms. Trombetti now.
Just for clarification, Mr. Peterson, this 100-foot setback for an accessory structure was not the rule in 1985, was it?
Probably not.
I think that's something that's been done within the last,
Couple of years.
like,
Probably
10 years?
10 or 15 years.
Yeah. So this 100 feet seems really extreme, but it's kind of new relative to the project.
Is that 100 feet from the front of the property?
From all property
Property
lines.
line.
The side.
Is a 100-foot setback from the side of the property?
Yeah, that was back in the 80s. I think that's changed now. so.
Okay.
That's a tennis court. That's an little unusual. Not everybody has tennis courts in their backyard.
Okay.
All right, Dee, it's back to you.
Yes, I don't have any more questions right now
Are you
because it's in construction and
Okay, you want to make a motion then? You ready to
Yeah.
make a motion?
I make a motion that, well, there's several steps here.
Right.
You consult the county or your contractor consult the county engineers or who are they?
Just the county
Personnel.
county personnel. Use that
Personnel.
word, that'd be fine, yes.
Yes, to direct you as to how to do the water management and the sales, the sales walls and everything else to keep it from flowing across to another neighbors. And also put a fence for the liability portion because the liability will fall on you. And that's just an insurance recommendation from me, not from the county.
Okay.
Um,
Well, you're going to make that part of the record now?
Yes,
Okay.
yes, that will be part of the record.
To secure the property.
To secure the property.
Wait a minute, I don't think we have that authority. Let's think about
Just
this.
a comment on my part.
Well, you could use that as a
For
clerk.
protection.
All right, clerk's comment, you could do
Yes,
that. But
yes.
to make it part of the record, I think the only thing we can make part of the record is what the county can do. So if you word it that the county would look into that particular problem and they have the authority to make a recommendation on the
Got it,
fence.
okay.
That would work. Yeah, okay?
Okay.
Clerk, you okay with that? Just shake your head, we'll get you there, okay, yes, ma'am.
Okay,
All right.
that's, yeah.
Okay, go ahead, anything else?
No, I make a motion that we proceed with the.
And based on all
and
staff
based on the-
recommend- all
On the
staff
recommendations, staff recommendations, that we proceed with the records, I mean, the whatever, the approval of this.
Application.
Application.
All right, I've got a motion, I've got a second. Or do I have a second? Do I have a second? A second, miss. Now, discussion stage, clarification, Robin, Ms. Clerk. We're going to use a clerk's note that Ms. Gay has suggested that, on a personal basis, that he put a fence up. But in the motion, we're saying the county has the responsibility to make a suggestion either way. It's the county's responsibility when they check the property. Now, Judy's looking a little crazy with me. John, am I okay or am I on thin ground there?
It's a silt fence that we're talking about, and they should.
No, we're not. No,
What I'm talking about has been a silt fence with Dave Braden. They have to submit the plan to stormwater management, and that should have been part of the stipulation, yeah.
And that's part of the comments.
That's already in there. That's the staff comments. John, am I okay on the explanation to Robin?
Yes.
Okay, I
think
am.
you are.
Okay. I've got a motion, I've got a second. Any other discussion? Not hearing anybody. I cannot call you up. The process is that we give you 10 minutes, we give them 10 minutes, and unless there's a question from one of these commissioners, I cannot legally bring you back up. Ms. Williams. John.
Mr. Chairman, does the variance board also want to make the approval subject to the plan dated November 12th, 2015 for the encroachment shown only?
Yes.
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 Okay.
All right, Ms. Gay, I'm ready to call for a motion. Do you want to ask Ms. Bennett? No. Okay, all right, call the question. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay, Madam Secretary, that's going to be approved with a 5-0 vote. I think you're going to depend on the county, so if I were you, I would get in touch with the county. Before you leave, get Mr. Braden's card. You can make contact with him.
Okay.
I think most of Mrs. Bennett's comments were well taken, and I think we will resolve all the issues as the county gets more involved.
Can I ask you a question? Mr. Peterson just said something there at the end. I couldn't hear what he said about the frontage that you said.
What we did was we added the site plan that you submitted as part of the record, so the variance is only for what's shown on the site plan.
Oh,
as far as setbacks.
I thought you said frontage. I wasn't sure what you were referring to. Okay.
He's from South Alabama, and sometimes we have problems with his diction, but it's becoming clearer all the time. And the site plan was submitted by you and your engineer, so we're protecting your rights all the way around.
Okay.
All right, that's it. Thank you very much. Let's go to the next one, John.
Yes, sir. Variance case V18, Parviz Abedi, request a variance to waive the maximum allowable impervious surface from 35% to 41.08%, and to waive the rear setback for an accessory structure under 650 square feet for an approximately 375 square foot pool house required 35 feet to 20 feet in land lot 688 of the 16th district. The property is located on the west side of Johnson Ferry Road, south of Oak Lane. Is the applicant present? Let the record show the applicant is here. Is there anyone here opposed to variance case V18? Let the record show there's 2 people opposed. All those wishing to address the board, please come forward to be sworn in.
All right, gentlemen, you know the drill, the purpose of the record. Please give me your name.
Corey Close here on behalf of the applicant,
Close.
Parviz Abedi.
Okay, and your name, sir?
Parviz Abedi.
And you're the applicant. Okay.
Yes, sir.
All right, sir, go right ahead.
Good afternoon. Thank you for hearing this matter. Again, my name is Corey Close. I'm an attorney at Bush, Reed & Jones, and I am here on behalf of the applicant, Parviz Abedi. We have filed an application to seek a variance increasing the amount of impervious surface on the property. That property is 2247 Johnson's Ferry Road in Marietta, Georgia. That is not in a neighborhood. There are no covenants that are controlling it. I want to give you a brief background to kind of give some context about what we're talking about here today. This property and the house was built 2007, 2008. And at that time, the county approved the plan. I'm not sure that you're looking at.
This is the
Is that the
survey.
2000
This is a survey that we have. We have this in our book too.
Is this the 2015 survey we're looking at?
Yes, it is. Yes, sir.
Okay. I also have a copy of the 2008 plan that was approved by the county on several occasions and is pretty much the same as what you are looking at here.
Do you want to put that 2008 up?
I
or-
would like to submit that at a certain point. It is mainly given for context to explain that this house was built back then, it was approved back then. The only thing that was not completed was the swimming pool that you see on the existing plan.
Okay. Was that on the 2008 plan?
It was.
Okay. If you want, we can put that up behind you and get that on TV if you need that entered into the record.
I think it would be helpful to have it entered in.
Okay, we'll have this gentleman right there. He'll be happy to help you. And he's going to put that.
Okay, so you can see there.
All right, this is 2008. This is submitted in 2008, the way you're going to build a house? Is
Yes,
that
sir,
correct?
and you can
Okay.
see the several stamps from the county on there.
Okay, yes, sir.
At that time, the house was built. This was consulted on by up to 4 civil engineers. This was a self-contained unit. Everything was planned out, including the water runoff and drainage. They went about building the house, got to the end of the project, and did not complete the pool. Now, obviously, there has been a good bit of time that's passed, so what we're asking is to basically reapprove the plan that was originally approved with some slight modifications. And in doing so, we go slightly over the 35% impervious surface area.
To 41%, is that correct?
Approximately.
Okay, go right ahead.
We have also submitted the 2015 plan. I want to put that up. That's what you people have.
Yes.
In the file. I want to put that up as well because, yes. Wait, this is slightly different. I want to point out a few things regarding the property and water runoff and how this whole property operates as a unit. The far left side of that is the back line of the property. That is the highest elevation of the property.
We can give you a pointer and a microphone, and you can work right off that plan if you like.
I can do that. All right, so here is the back line of the property. This is the highest elevation of the lot. It has been designed so that the water runs towards the street. So here's Johnson's Ferry Road. This property is essentially in a bowl. There are swales on each side of the fences that surrounds the property that channel water up to the 57 stone drainage area at the front of the property. So everything on the property runs forward, runs into this drainage area, and is taken away. That's primarily what I wanted to point out about how this property sits and what the water is doing.
Right.
Now, the property's been there, the house has been built, it's been finished, save for this swimming pool, for 8, approaching 9 years. There's never been any water runoff problems. The system as designed is effective. At the last minute, and I apologize for doing it at the last minute, we supplied the approval from the neighbors on all sides. Mr. Abidi has talked to everybody. They have confirmed, I can't testify for him, but we have no complaints about water runoff. Again, I think the reason that we're here is a little bit unorthodox, seeing that we are not changing the existing footprint of anything. This pool has been dug. It needs to be tiled and finished, and a small amount of pool decking needs to be added in. Everything else that was approved is there, as you see the plan in front of you. And so with that being said, with no objection from the neighbors, no complaints about water runoff, we would ask that the county approve the variance and allow Mr. Abidi to complete the project, finish the pool, and go about his life.
Okay. Anything else you want to tell us?
No, sir. I'd be happy to answer any questions with Mr. Abidi's help. He's very knowledgeable on this subject. Do you have anything you want to add? Okay, he's going to step up and add some
Good
thoughts.
afternoon. If you don't understand me, just raise your hand, please. That house was built with the design from Georgia Tech and MIT. This house was also awarded the greenest house in the state of Georgia by Governor, Georgia Governor. I didn't bring I think this gentleman, I'm not sure exactly what his position is, the opposition. He came in, I showed him.
Right.
This house was not designed by individual, it was designed by top engineers.
Right.
It was also designed to last 700 years. So I just want to let you know. And when we started the house, the Shot Creek, the house, they all were built simultaneously. It's just a difference opinion between me and my other boss, my wife. We couldn't decide, and by the time we decided to decide, we ran out of money. So the pool was approved up to 78%. In other words, even the electrical part of it, we were ready to do tile and coping. And when we realized we have money to finish it, when we went to the swimming pool guy, he said, I'm going to go get a permit. And then they realized it's been way over 6 months.
Right.
And then that's when we realized that it is over 35% impervious area. And a part of it is due to the fact that at the time we did the drawing, we really didn't measure the driveway. The driveway was not done exactly 100% correct in terms of measurement. Now it is measured. There was a miscalculation on the survey that you see, because I had the engineers
That's the 08 survey or the?
at
this new-
2015.
Oh, the new
So
one, okay.
that's correct. And the engineer looked at it, and I said, guys, I want my money back because Cobb County is having objection to what you guys did, and they won't let me finish my swimming pool, although it's 80% finished. They called the survey company. The survey company had made a couple of mistakes, and I have a copy of that I like to show you, that it is actually putting us at 38% minus the fact that it will be a little bit of more impervious area around tile and coping on the pool.
Okay.
I can show you this right here. So as of right now, we're at 38%.
Okay.
So, and I appreciate your time. That's all I have to say, really.
Dave Braden, would you like to look at this while we're listening to the other speakers? I tell you, let's not put it up, John, Cornelius, Mr. Braden, come up and get that. And it'll give you an opportunity to sit there and look at that while we hear from the opposition. All right, thank you, gentlemen. If you just have a seat, and we'll hear from the opposition now. All right, purpose of the record, your name, sir.
Doug Davis, East Cobb Civic
Davis,
Association. And to be honest with you, I don't know what I'm objecting to now.
Okay.
I've got one survey showing 42. Obviously, we
Well,
have
30
something else showing something shorter.
Well, we've got an
I
engineer
had an
looking at that.
understanding, the applicant did tell me one was coming. I have not seen it.
Okay.
Looking at the original site plan, which first time I've seen it, there are some differences in that and what we're looking at today. Let me get a few minutes to get my thoughts
sure,
up.
yes,
We're obviously substantially over. I don't know if the 38 includes a deck. The attorney mentioned a deck, so our survey here is not correct. So I don't, we can't make a recommendation. I don't know what to object to. However, I will make this comment. Stormwater management comments was they felt like the applicant could meet the code by doing some modification and using impervious surfaces. And we will support that.
Okay. Okay.
Thank you for your time.
Doug, thank you. I understand your dilemma. At this time, if you just have a seat and everybody just hold tight, let me ask Mr. Braden to come up with that site plan. David, I know we're putting you on the spot, but maybe you can just give us an overview or an oversight of everything.
You switch back to that one first. You want to do this one? This is the original. Again, Dave Braden with Stormwater Management Division. I want to make one, if we go back to the original
08.
permitted 08 plan.
And is that what I'm looking at now?
That's the one we're looking at on the
Okay,
plate.
08, yes, sir.
Yes,
Go
it
ahead.
does show the pool in the back, but it, as was mentioned by the owner, it does not show that big expansive driveway out front. And that's one of the problems we run into in some of the older site plans is
Okay.
when they're brought in for the building permit, they don't necessarily show what the driveway is. And most of the times, even if they did show the driveway, it winds up being a good bit bigger than it was intended. So almost all of the overage here, well, all the overage here is attributed to that big circular driveway. You can switch back to the one on the wall. The big driveway out front. So, but apparently the survey that was provided in our books based on this is a little bit different on the numbers. There are a couple things that were miscalculated, and I believe, it looks to me like the number that was quoted is the current number, which is what,
38, David?
38, is that what it was, 38? Okay. But that does not include any pool decking. So as you notice that there's no pool decking shown on that survey, they're not including any additional coverage to provide a pool decking. Again, if those, if that decking is done with pervious pavers, then obviously you can get a little more decking than, we get more decking than if it's done 100% impervious, so.
Just to answer this question, based on the 08 survey, if it was completed the way the survey showed in 08, we being the county, would we have approved it then, or would we have caught it to show the difference in the driveway?
Not sure, because it didn't show a driveway, so there wouldn't have been able to way to get into any of those double garages. So
it wouldn't have been approved because the driveway wasn't in there. Is that your opinion?
well, I'm just saying that the plan did not show a driveway, and I'm not sure we would have required the plan to show the driveway that they were putting in
08.
Right.
So in 08, there was a possibility that this could have been approved in 08 and with the driveway and with the pool and everything. Is that correct?
If the driveway was a lot less than it is now, they might have been able to make it at 35%. Yeah.
Well, to answer the question, without the maybes, ifs, ands, and buts, is there a possibility it could have been approved in 08?
John?
Mr. Chairman, can I answer that question for Mr. Braden?
Sure you
Please
can.
do.
You know, starting in 2011, we started to require these plans, like the plans that are shown on the screen that had the driveway, sidewalks, and everything else. Prior to that, they were pretty much like the 07 or 08 plan, where they just showed the house footprint only.
So there is a possibility it could have been approved.
It was approved.
It was approved.
It
But
was
it did not
approved.
show a driveway.
It was approved, and if he didn't run out of money, he'd have it built. Is that correct?
I would
Is that
assume so,
correct,
yeah.
John? If it was approved then and he didn't run out of money, it'd have been there.
Well, maybe not. The plan in 08 is a little bit different than this plan, as far as where the
Okay.
pool's located in the pool house.
Yeah. Right.
He would have been approved at the point.
That's the point I'm getting at, if it was finished at the time. So let's give the fellow the benefit of the doubt. Hell, he went broke in 08. Hell, we all went broke in 08. Hell, I still haven't come out of the, that's why I buy lottery tickets every day. Oh, boy, I'm getting way out. All right, David, I think you've answered. Anything else you'd like to tell us about this?
No, as far as the drainage is concerned, it does drain as was previously explained, around the sides of the house to the roadside ditch that runs along Johnson's Ferry to the south. There may not be any drainage problems there, but if everybody in the county went 5 and 10% over their impervious, eventually downstream there's going to be a problem. So there may not be a problem on Johnson's Ferry, but it adds up. And
Okay.
so that, I guess my point is that in my comments were addressed based on the previous numbers, which obviously are a little bit different now. But it seems to me that even with this, there would be the ability to at least reduce some impervious on the driveway.
Right.
Enough to be able to provide enough pool surround in the back so they could have a pool surround, particularly if they're using impervious pavers for that. So I really just would like to see a plan that shows that. And, you know, maybe we can't get down to 35%, but somewhere in between.
To live with.
Yeah.
Okay. Dee, if you would allow me, I'm going to continue to ask if the applicant would come back up. I just got a simple question for you guys.
Yes, sir.
Given all the facts and the hearsays and everything that we've all gone through, if we approve this, and I'm going out on a limb here, just as my opinion, just my opinion, if we approve this at 38%, could you live with that and one way or the other get it all worked in with impervious pavers around your pool? Would 38% work for you?
The plan is to use sod and impervious pavers around the pool surround. I think yes.
I think, sir, to be honest with you, it is going to be end up close to 40.
So the answer is no.
Well, I don't know because I have to check with the engineer to see if we can use impervious concrete around the pool. And if that's the case, yes, sir, definitely yes.
All right.
We can use impervious
I'm not
concrete.
an engineer, and
Yeah.
all I was trying to cut this thing to the chase. That's why I asked 38%.
Yes, sir.
All right, now let me go back and let me turn it over to Ms. Dee Gay, who represents the district. Ms. Gay? It's up to you. It's your
In
your
view
turn.
in view that we cannot really agree or arrive at a certain numbers or points, I am suggesting that we hold this this appeal till next month for another 30 days. So you guys could bring your plans and we could have a more cohesive agreement here.
Uh,
Is that okay with you?
Just so we're clear, so you're asking we submit a final plan, including the pool decking, with a final percentage. I think that makes sense for everybody.
Yeah, 30
Yes,
days.
yeah,
It-
30
it's-
days.
Give you an opportunity to get with your engineers, and your engineers to get with Mr. Braden, and you come back in 30 days with a plan, and we know exactly what figure we're dealing with. That's what Ms. Gay is saying.
Is that agreeable?
Okay, that's
fine.
Sure.
Let me get this on a motion. Go ahead, make the motion.
I make motion that we hold this meeting this appeal till 30 days from now, till February the 16th, I believe.
Okay, 30
And,
days. I have a motion, I have a second. Second, Skip. Now, we're in a discussion period, and Skip, start out.
I'm assuming that during the next 30 days, you're going to do everything you can to try to get as close to 35% impervious space as possible, which may include reducing the size of that driveway somewhat.
It is impossible to do the front, sir, because this house is all steel and concrete.
No, I'm just talking about the driveway.
I understand the driveway, it's all built with the rebar tied to the front. And if you look at the front columns of the house, I don't know if you have a picture of the house, you got 15 ton columns
Okay,
sitting
so-
there. So what I'm afraid of, and I'm just trying to, structurally speaking, what I'm afraid of, that if we reduce any particularly close to that, it will, one thing that this survey is not showing, we do have some pavers that they counted as a whole. So we are going to be close to about 38-39% when the
So-
pool is finished.
What you'll do is you'll come back with a plan, and if it's over 35%, then we're going to have to decide if we want to approve that or not. That's what you're doing. Okay.
Yes, sir.
I just want to make sure that was clear.
Anybody else want to discuss anything?
I just have one
Judy, turn your
just one
button.
comment. I think it's for Mr. Peterson.
Turn your button.
It's
So,
on.
okay.
In the past, on some of these extremely large houses like this, haven't we approved, especially, I think it's been in Christie's district and over in Ott's district, or Dee's district, up to 40%?
Yes, we have.
And then leave that up to stormwater to come up with, if they couldn't go over 40%.
Yeah, and stormwater would typically be required to approve a plan that shows less than 40% impervious.
Mhm. And given the extremely rare nature of this house, I really wouldn't be opposed to approving it up to 40% with the final approval by stormwater management.
If I may, I can guarantee we will be
No,
under
this-
40.
no, we-
I'm
this
sorry,
is
I'm
just-
sorry.
This is just discussion, so.
Well, I tried that at 38. I thought we cut the chase.
But I think 40, we have approved 40, if I'm not mistaken, several different times. And Christie, I believe we did one in your district not long ago, was 40%. So that would be, I guess you've got a motion and so we need to call the question, I guess, so we could see.
Okay. Any other comments?
And sir, the house to my right-hand side, it is 40 and it was approved. They have a pool.
Okay.
So,
Well, we're going to give you a little time. I think what Ms. D is saying, give you 30 days. Get with your engineers. Your engineers are going to get with Mr. Braden, and you'll come back next month with a number that we'll all work with.
okay, so I just have one question. So if we had 40%, we're okay because that's.
I can't tell you that. That's a vote that's taken next month.
Okay, well, I need the number to work with.
I can't do
Obvious-
that. That's why we're giving you 30 days. We're asking you to come back to us with the number. We don't know. We don't know. Your engineer will know.
Can I say one thing?
Ms. Trombetti, yes, ma'am.
Since we're all chiming in, I mean, my opinion on it is kind of a no net increase. If you could stay around 38, which is what's existing and has been, that would be reasonable in my opinion. But again, the vote and the hearing would take place next month.
You got 5 different people up here. Sometimes we like each other, sometimes we don't. You know, it's like the soap opera as the county turns. you know, you've got a legitimate hardship. I recognize that. Your neighbor has got a 41 or 40%. You've gotten all your things from your neighbors. I'm not hung up on that percentage at all. But again, I've got to have the exact number. So that's where we're going with this. I got a motion. I got a second. And a second. Everybody, all in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay, it's a 4-1 vote, Miss Williams dissenting. She'd give you 85%, and I'd probably vote with her. Good girl. All right, it is 4-1. Thank you,
Take care of
gentlemen.
it. Thank you.
Where am I, John? I am absolutely finished. It has been a wonderful day in the neighborhood. Yeah, I've got, as you're passing those things out, I want to make sure that Officer Mallory has the two bodyguards, Mr. Braden. I want you to walk out with him to make sure he's okay. Matter of fact, I'm a little jealous. And with that said, before we leave today, ladies and gentlemen, I need to get an approval on the December the 18th minutes and also the January the 11th minutes. Do I have a motion on that? Okay, I got a motion. I have a second by Ms. Williams. I'll call for the vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay, Madam Secretary, that is taken care of. Now, I'm going to let everybody leave early. You got enough time to go buy a lottery ticket. And I will be in Hawaii tomorrow because I will not be in town after I get my money. Thank you, and Happy New Year to everybody. See you next month.